Wait, it's working. I did it. I fucking did it. Guys, look. Hello? Is anybody here? Oh, come on. It hasn't been that long, right? The fuck? Okay, I know. I really took my time with this, but hey, it's not really my fault, you know? Anyway, so I'm pretty sure we all know how Snake works, but let's pretend we don't for a second. Now, like most games in the 80s, the way Snake works is pretty simple. You just need to move the snake to the food without touching yourself or the walls, and if you get your snake long enough, you just win. Easy, right? And writing the code isn't that hard either. You just set the base grid, the snake, a simple function that creates the food, and boom! Good old Snake, it's ready to be played. Now, before we go on, I want to make something clear. I fucking hate the Hamiltonian cycle. Why do I hate it? Well, for those of you who don't know, the Hamiltonian cycle is a simple path that can only exist if at least one dimension of the grid is even, and that guarantees a win as long as you follow it. So basically, it's just like this. Oh wow, you won. Just like winning a marathon by taking a fucking bus. I hate it. I fucking hate it. I mean, it's not even playing. It's just following a path mindlessly, and worst of all, it takes fucking ages to eat the first fruits because it has to go through the whole cycle before reaching them. And I know what you're thinking.
Well, you say that you hate it, but it's impossible to win without it, duh.
Oh yeah? Well, first of all... Oh, and also as a rule, I didn't want to use it, so yeah, it is possible. But let's take it step by step. So the first thing I noticed in the Hamiltonian cycle is that if you watch it closely, it's nothing more than the longest way to go from the head to the tail, so let's just write a function to do it. Oh, you're saying that if I want to find the longest path, I'll have to wait so long that I'm going to be dead before it even reaches half the way? Huh, well that's bad. But wait, what if we just try the shortest path to the tail? That way we should still have a permanent cycle without waiting for my grandchildren to check if my code works or not. So let's do that. Now, while I show you the code, I wanted to talk about what function I'm using to find the paths. And honestly, I'm just using a simple BFS. Now, the way BFS works is just like throwing a rock in the water and watch how the ripples move. The only difference being that instead of a pond, we're using a maze. But honestly, that's it. We just look what path reaches the goal first and go through that. So let's see how this goes. Honestly, it didn't do as bad as I thought it would, but yeah, I think we all knew it couldn't be that simple. Now let's look back at why it failed. To do that, I just played the same script again, but this time I made both the path to tail and path to food visible, so I can show you the deep flaw in our logic. Did you see that? Let me slow it more. As you can see, when the snake spots the food, it immediately tries to reach it, always checking if the tail can still be reached after every step. But here's the problem, because right before the snake gets to the food, it tries to calculate if eating it would make it impossible to reach the tail. And of course the answer is yes, so it just goes around it. But that also locks the food forever, because from now on, there's never going to be a safe path to eat it. And to be fair, just to get it this far, I replayed the script multiple times because it kept locking itself in a loop after not even a minute. Instead, I'm just going to show you the function I personally created to calculate the longest path from the head to the tail without exploding the bigger the board is. And it's honestly pretty simple. So if you take a grid and try to draw the longest path from one angle to the other, you may notice that despite the paths being different, the first step of every path, it's almost the same. And that's because every time you're trying to draw the longest path, what you actually do, it's travel from step to step, trying to keep the distance from the goal as big as possible. And that's what I did. I just wrote a function to follow that logic, and it worked. Now, to be fair, it's slightly more complicated than that, but I'm getting bored of explaining, and it's just technical shit anyway. So instead, I'm gonna put the performances data of my algorithm here and leave you with 2 gameplay from my algorithm to watch it play. But if you're really curious about the code, I'm gonna post it on GitHub after I hit 10 subscribers, so probably for a few months, it's gonna be only mine.
Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Yeah. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Messing around like I'm brand new. I ain't tryna tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? Yeah.
Finally, I finished working on this thing. Now, before this video ends, I just wanted to thank CodeBullet, because honestly, if you watch his video on Snake, you'll realize pretty quickly that the whole idea behind my algorithm comes from what he proposed for the first half. I just made it better and faster. Yeah, I know I'm pretty humble. Okay, bye!